microphone. You ready? Yeah. All right. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here at KLEED at noon. I'm your host, Kevin Guillory. We had quite a bit of a wake-up call this morning with some severe weather that came through the Acadiana region, but it turned out to be a pretty nice day. We're going to check in with meteorologist Adam Olivier here in a little bit. But first, our top story. Our guest for today is KLFY anchor Taylor Trache. It is my honor to interview Taylor today because I've been interviewed by Taylor numerous times. So it's great to be on the other side of the mic, asking the questions instead of answering the questions. Thank you for joining us today, Taylor.
Of course. It's weird being on this other side of the mic.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so first question. Just going to get to know you a little better. Yeah. You are the most famous person I've ever interviewed. So this for me is a big occasion. So you're from Florida.
I am.
Okay, you're a Florida girl. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience growing up in Florida?
Yeah, so I grew up in South Florida, an area called Jupiter. It's right by Palm Beach, kind of like an hour north of Miami. Grew up by the beach. It was wonderful. I took it for granted when I was younger, but now moving away and being landlocked, I'm like, gosh, I really miss the beach. But I went to the University of Florida. Go Gators. And then after I graduated there, I studied in telecommunications. And after I graduated, I got a job in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Awesome. So like you, I also grew up in a place with a beach that I took for granted. I grew up in Lake Charles.
Just a little different.
If you ever miss the beach, just hop on I-10 West and get off and go to the beach and just have yourself a good time.
Don't you see? She knows.
Can't promise you'll see what's in the water, but it'll be an experience you won't forget.
I need to see the bottom of the water. I need to be able to see through it. If I can't, if it's murky, it's a no.
Well, so you haven't swam in the Vermilion?
No,
okay.
No.
Got it. All right. So when did you know you wanted to be in journalism? Was it like 5-year-old Taylor setting up a little table with a...
No, it wasn't. Actually, when I was little, I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Oh.
And I would take out all of my stuffed animals and play vet. And my real pets, too, God rest their souls, put up with a lot with baby Tay.
You didn't have to be anything to do with them not being here anymore.
No.
Oh, okay.
Actually, and it was really cool. I was super lucky. The veterinarian that we brought our animals to, he kind of like saw that I wanted to be a vet when I was older, and so he would bring me back and show me all the ropes. And then what did it for me, I was like, this is not the career path for me, is when we had to put down my first pet. I was a wreck. I'm like, there's no way I could do this for other people. So I'm like, plot twist, we need to find something different. And I had no idea what I wanted to be. I was a senior in high school, and my AP English teacher had us draw a bunch of like cartoons. And he pulled me aside. He's like, hey, you should be the cartoonist for our school newspaper. And I was like, okay. And he put me in a class. Unfortunately, it didn't work out with my schedule, so I was stuck with all of the freshmen as a senior in high school, and he kind of let me do what I wanted to do, and we created kind of like our own like social news platform at the school, and I was like, this is pretty cool. I think I can see myself doing something like this. So when I got into the University of Florida, I dove kind of head first into telecommunications. We had to take a lot of the intro courses to journalism and journalism law and ethics and all of that. But what really did it for me is before you go into TV at UF, you have to go through radio. And you have to take a series of news tests before you kind of make it to each level. And so I was in my Radio 1 class, and they just kind of gave us a recorder and was like, go have fun. Go find us a story. And I met this little old man. He must have been, I want to say like 77 years old. In the heart of campus, he built this little sanctuary for students to come and decompress and de-stress from classes. He called it Bambooville. He had wind chimes, like shade, drinks, snacks for all of the kids. And it was such a cool space. And he just did it, one, because he was old, he was lonely, and there was a way for him to get out and meet people. I think I sat there with him talking for about 3 hours. And that's what sold me. I was like, this is a fun job. Telling people stories, that's what I love the most.
Awesome. So you said you want to be a veterinarian. Do you ever watch the cartoon Doc McStuffins?
No.
You should watch it. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't.
So it's a little Disney cartoon about a little girl who's a vet. So her toys come to life, her stuffed animals come to life,
cool.
And she takes care of them. So you
That's
might like
cool.
that.
I might like that.
Awesome. So when you graduated, you came directly from Gainesville to Lafayette?
I did. And it was surprisingly, Gainesville's very swampy, like here. So I was kind of accustomed to the heat and humidity. But yeah, I moved right out of college. It was the logical choice for me. I did have opportunities to go up north, but I was a Florida girl. I was a beach girl. I was not made for snow. So I was like, you know what? This sounds like the perfect spot for me to land. And I kind of fell in love with it here.
Yeah. So was that the plan to originally still be here, or were you just thinking,
no,
it's just going to be a little stop until I go off to somewhere?
That's exactly what I thought. I thought that it would be a little stopping point. So for those who aren't familiar with how kind of the news industry works, a lot of us are contracted based. So our contracts usually range between 2 or 3 years. And from that point, you go on to a bigger market or a different opportunity and stuff like that. So you grow that way. So when I came here, I signed a 2-year contract as a reporter at a station down the road. It was called News 15. They had just launched the NBC side of things. So I was like, this is a fun opportunity to come and grow. I'm like, I'll do my 2 years here, and then I'll see what else is in store for me. I never thought I would stay here almost 9 years.
Be here 9 years. Is there anyone in the news industry that you look up to, that you like you follow their career, or you watch them and they inspire you to grow?
Yeah, so there's a couple. In regards to storytellers, if you haven't watched, I'm sure a lot of us in this room have watched a Steve Hartman piece. He is an incredible storyteller. As far as anchors and personalities, I really look up to Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb. I just think they are stellar women who aren't afraid to be themselves on TV, and I think that's so important, that they're still true to themselves, but can deliver what needs to be delivered on air.
Awesome. So you've recently gone through a transition to KLFY. Not everybody is blessed to have their employment transitions in the news, but that's what happened with you. And we're glad that you're still here. Can you explain a little bit about the process during the transition, what your thoughts were? Were you thinking that it's time to move on from Lafayette, or were you determined to stay here?
Yeah, so for those who maybe aren't familiar, News 15 recently had a couple rounds of layoffs where they let go a really solid team of individuals. And yes, it's sad. I worked so hard over there. I was their noon and 4 p.m. anchor, kind of creating a space for community to be. So when I was let go in January, I wasn't sad that, like, okay, I don't have a job, what do I do? I was more gutted at the fact that the community is lacking a space to let people know what's going on in the community. I think that was the most heart-wrenching thing for me, because I looked forward to meeting up with people like you on the show and learning what's going on in the community and letting people know, like, hey, we have some really cool people in the community. This is what they're doing. So that was like the first process going through my mind. I was a little depressed, not going to lie. And then I kind of had to be like, okay, I don't know if I can stay here. I want to stay here. I'm not ready to move just yet. Like, there's still things that I wanted to do, I wanted to see through. And so I was just kind of saying my prayers and be like, it's in your hands. I'm just going to go with the flow. But I was interviewing at places in New York, in South Carolina, in all kinds of states. And I kept telling my husband, like, I'm not ready to leave. He's just like, okay. He's like, but whenever my severance is up, you're either getting a job at Costco or we're moving somewhere. And I'm like, you're right. So I just kind of like held faith for that. But no, I wasn't ready to leave. And I'm so blessed the way things turned out. I'm so happy with 10.
So you did a little bit, you have a pretty good social media following. So how did you leverage that during your time?
Yeah, I had a lot of free time on my hands being unemployed. So we were in the midst of king cake season, and I used to do this thing called the Great King Cake Taste Off. And it was a huge thing that we all looked forward to, where we would highlight our local king cake bakeries. And so my buddy, Brian, over at Great Harvest, he had made a specialty king cake for that competition that was no longer happening. And I knew he was going to debut it. So I texted him. I was like, hey, can I come by, taste test the king cake, film it, and like put it on social? Just let people know that you're still here. You have a new king cake. You want people to try it. He's like, absolutely. So I did that, spent the afternoon with him, posted the video on social media, and people really loved it. And then other small businesses started reaching out, asking for help to promote their stuff on social media. I think Aaron Grayco, immediately after they saw the king cake video, was like, hey, we have a build your own hat bar. Can we get the word out? So I was like, yeah, but we should help market you too.
Yeah.
People want to know who you guys are. So we did like a multi-part series with them. They sold out for that. And then, yeah, my most recent one, dear friend, Dr. Cazares, Ryan with Scott Eye Care, he was just like, he texted me. He's like, hey, I have an idea. Do you want to try these contacts and just kind of help me educate people about them? I was like, sure. I'll put things in my eyes to try it out, till people know about it. And it's been the coolest experience to be able to utilize my social media in that downtime in a positive way. Granted, I didn't have that TV aspect anymore, but I think I found a little niche unintentionally in social media, because what I did on TV, there was now a void where people didn't have a place to go and get that information. So they kind of filled it in a sense, not fully, but I tried.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. I love when opportunity arises out of unexpected circumstances.
Yeah.
So how did KLFY land the free agent signing of 2025?
So believe it or not, the news industry, it's pretty small. We all know each other. We're all friends with each other. Like I have friends at 3, 15, obviously still, and 10. So I actually worked with the general manager at both 10 and now at 3. And they're just wonderful people. But Chris Cook, who's a general manager at 10, he called me first as a friend, just to make sure. He's like, hey, how you holding up? How you doing? And I was like, honestly, Chris, not great. But he's just like, okay. And he's like, let me put you in touch with our news director, and we'll kind of go from there. And they worked hard behind the scenes. I don't know all the things that went on to get me to where I am, but I'm so grateful for them both, because I wasn't ready to leave, and I really loved what I did. Yeah. What I do.
Awesome. So was Adam a package deal? Were you like, I'm not coming without Adam, or did he have to negotiate his own contract?
No, that wasn't a package deal. But Adam and I are buddies through and through. So like deep down, I think deep down I knew that we would maybe be working together again. I don't know why, just like that gut feeling. But yeah, and that was just miraculous too. And when, so Trevor, when he wanted to make the shift to news, and they're like, well, we're going to need someone. And so they're like, hey,
got this guy.
I have a butt. I'm like, okay. So we kind of started that process, and Adam's so happy too, and I'm so glad to work with him. It's kind of like the band's back together a little bit with me and him.
That's what it feels like watching.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what are some of your things that you like to do outside of news? Because contrary to popular belief, anchors and reporters are actually real people with real lives and all of that. So what do you like to do outside of work? Yeah.
So I really love spending time with my husband and my dog. So family time at home is super important to me. But outside of work, I have a huge background in dance, believe it or not. I grew up dancing at a studio in Florida, and I taught dance in college just to make some money on the side for groceries and whatnot. And I kind of continued that here. So I do teach with Distinction Dance Company, and I do a lot with Lafayette Ballet Theater whenever Nutcracker rolls around. I'm a party parent for them, and I do a lot of like Pilates. We like to work out a lot too with I teach at Good Wolf as well. And let's do that. We also love to be outdoors too. So like kayaking.
Even when it's like 100 degrees outside?
I mean, we have to play it by ear when it's 100 degrees outside. Mostly it's like AC. If there was a fan, yes.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you're going to start a Dancing with the TV Stars here in Acadiana?
Maybe.
And you're going to mop the floor with the rest of the newscasters?
Listen.
I mean, Rob Perillo might give you a run for your money. I heard he's right on his toes.
I feel like he'd be really good. I feel like he would actually maybe win, honestly.
So if you think about that, I think that'd be a good idea.
I'll put it on the list of ideas that I have.
Get the community involved. So awesome. All right. So do you watch the news?
No. I mean, okay.
Like, this is going on with some guy.
Let me preface. Oh, I think I just knocked my water. Okay. That was a loaded question. I do, and I don't. Solely because I live and breathe news all the time, every single day. And so sometimes you need a break. You need a detox. So when I get home, I tend not to unless it's some really big things that are happening, going on. My mom gets on me too with that. She's like, did you see this in the news? I'm like, no, Mom, I haven't. She's like, but you work in the news. I'm like, I need a break every now and then. But yeah.
So I'm a local news junkie. That's like my...
Local news is so important.
It is.
It's so important.
Like, so it's all on YouTube now. So I get home, I sit on the couch, and I start in Lafayette, go through all the YouTube stations, then I move over to Lake Charles, what's going on there. Sometimes I check Beaumont, end up in Houston, KHOU, KPRC, ABC 13, Fox 26.
So you make your rounds.
So I make my rounds. Sometimes I go to San Antonio and Austin if I'm feeling, and then Dallas. But like, I never watch like national news. So if there's a big story going on in like North Carolina, I'm going to Google and I say Charlotte news stations. And so I watch it from a local perspective.
See, that's great.
And so with technology has made it possible because I feel like the stories are different. It's not as sensationalized. And these are people that are reporting on their communities. They're not just there for the night and all of that jazz. So with technology and AI and all of this stuff, how do you see the news industry changing? How is the news industry keeping up with changes? And how is the news, especially local news, staying relevant in the age of consolidation and all of that?
So that's a really good question. I think, so the landscape of news since when I was in college has changed dramatically. We have all of these bigger companies and all of that stuff. So it's hard, and with technology too, you mentioned it's hard to stay current when people are ditching cable, to be completely honest. I think streaming is a really good platform, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that in the future. KLFY is one of those people. They just launched a streaming service called KLFY Plus. It's like an app. So if you have like a Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, you just download that app to your computer, and it's basically locally made stuff on demand. And we're doing such a good job at highlighting our local community on that streaming platform. So it's just kind of an extra. Like one of the unique channels or shows that you're going to get on that KLFI Plus platform is a show called The Digital Insider, where it kind of gives you like marketing insights. I think a couple of podcasts, local podcasts are on there too. So I think we're going to see a lot in that streaming realm, but it's hard to keep up when things are changing so fast. But I think streaming is kind of the start of that.
So it's different now too, because nowadays, or back in the day, if you like flubbed the line or messed up something on the news,
I do that all the time.
only the people who were watching at that very moment knew about it. Now there's a whole channel dedicated to news bloopers.
Yes.
You made an appearance on one. Yes, I was watching maybe last year, but you did not do the line. It was your colleague who said, man, there should really be a time after Mardi Gras where everything is just kind of clean and you just kind of detox from all the stuff. And I think it might have been you.
Dan or
Dan,
like,
yeah.
Yes, it's
and you called Lent.
It's called Lent.
And he was like, oh yeah. And he thought he had created something new.
I remember that.
So
we have a lot of moments like that too. And when you see stuff like that, that's just like us being us. And a lot of the times too is we're under these time constraints. So we have a producer in our ear be like, all right, you got 20 seconds to chat, or in other cases like, all right, just talk. We have so much time, just keep going. So a lot of us, we're just trying to figure out what to say. Sometimes we say we need something after Mardi Gras to detox. And
so y'all just got to have small talk while people are watching as the camera zooms away. Then it gets quiet and y'all are still talking about stuff. Like,
yeah, like are you saying like when we end a show?
Yeah, like the small talk at the end of the show.
Sometimes we're still talking. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, y'all had a couple of moments. Y'all had the horses in Church Point. But that's a whole nother story.
There was a cockroach that flew on Adam on live TV during his weather, and I saw it fall from the ceiling. And luckily, the desk and the weather wall was like a good maybe like 20 feet apart. So I'm like, I think I'm safe. And I just see this thing crawling across Adam, and he goes, oh, I think there's a bug on me. And there's a cockroach on his elbow. He's like, look at this. This is so cool. And I'm like, Adam,
no,
that is not cool.
No, not at all.
I think a guest killed it because it flew off of him somewhere. Yeah.
So it was a murder on live TV. So, awesome. So with the community, so that's my next question. Okay, so it seems like you've done 12 and 4.
Yes.
The news, like in the morning and in like noon, seems so much more relaxed.
Yeah,
and then you get to the 5, 6, and 10, and it's like all the serious stuff.
So,
it just feels like, man, they don't have as much fun at night as they do during the daytime.
I can actually, because I've worked pretty much every single shift. I've done sports, I've done morning, I've done noon for the late night. So, yeah, and that was the hardest part for me because I was going like, oh, puppies, adopt them. They're up for adoption, to breaking news. We have whatever is going on. So that was the hardest part for me, is to find that shift from like the lighthearted to the serious. But we try to at night, like little nuggets of lightheartedness. Have happiness, some happiness, but there is a difference, because morning, we want you guys to start your day off on a great note too. Lunchtime, around noon, you're at lunch. You're taking a break. We want to inform you on some fun things happening in the community. And then 4 o'clock too, which is where I'm at now, at 10, which is so fun because it's just all lifestyle. And it's just it's right up my alley.
Yeah.
I have no news unless there's like serious weather, but we can have fun. We can cook, play with puppies, but people are coming home from their day. They're trying to de-stress from work. And so how I see it is like, we're that outlet. for you guys.
Mm-hmm. So y'all tell us all the bad news before we go to sleep.
Basically,
That's what it is.
give you
Okay.
nightmares.
Night, night.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, but it's the later stuff. Obviously, we have to keep you informed of what's going on, because if we didn't, then we wouldn't be doing our jobs.
Yeah.
So it's finding that balance, and I think those shows find that balance, because you're still going to get what happened the day before, what's breaking news right now in the morning.
Yeah.
But we also got to get you out the door too.
That makes sense. So y'all repeat yourselves in the morning. Is it a lot of repeating yourselves over and over?
It honestly just depends on the news day. News is ever changing. So if there were some big stories that happened the day before, yeah, we're going to get you up to speed. Because what if you weren't up for 10 o'clock and you totally missed all of that?
Yeah. So you worked the 10 o'clock shift before. Has there been a time where the news started at like 11:30? Because of a late sports game, you're just sitting there like, how can they finish this, please? I'm ready to go home.
All the time. It's even worse whenever it was like Olympics or soccer.
Oh, yeah.
We were there until like midnight. Took a power nap.
And then just tell the news at midnight. And y'all couldn't pre-record it just in case something happened between.
So it's a little different. I'm unveiling the curtain here. There's certain shows where the network will require you to do it live.
Oh, okay.
Essentially. So for example, NBC, we couldn't ever shorten that 10 o'clock show because of network requirements.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but now you know.
Stay tuned for your late local news, except on the West Coast. So awesome. So what are some things you see in your future here in Lafayette? What are some things that you want to accomplish, some goals that you have?
Oh gosh.
It could be work related, personal related.
I think a lot of it is work related too. I think I want to find a way to bring back some of the things I was doing at 15 in a way, because for example, the King Cake Taste Off, that was really building momentum. This year would have been year 5. And we had so much planned for that. And I would love to find a way to bring that back in a sense and make it what I had envisioned for that. But yeah, I think that's the big goal for me right now is what I'm focusing on.
Yeah. Awesome. You've been such a great community asset. So I'm community engagement coordinator for the Lead Center. And part of that community engagement involves relationships with outside organizations and companies and stuff. And you've always been so available whenever we needed to get the word out about Accelerate Northside and being willing to give our entrepreneurs a chance whenever, you did the Eat This or the lunchtime thing where people would provide lunch and you would eat it.
What's for lunch?
What's for lunch?
Yeah.
Not Eat This. I might trademark that though. Kelsey Sanders provide lunch for y'all. And
amazing.
It's important just having somebody in the community that cares and provides a platform. Because whether fortunately or unfortunately, everybody has a platform nowadays. Everybody can create a YouTube video or a Facebook.
Yeah.
But there's something important about the legitimacy of local news.
Yeah.
And to have that opportunity to be a part of it and to have our organization, the Lead Center, and our entrepreneurs be a part of it has been great. So I appreciate you taking the time to join us today, to peel back the curtain a little bit. And it was kind of fun being on this side of the couch. But I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really fun to be here.
Thank you. Taylor Trache, everybody.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. And that's like a perfect moment too. Like a medical emergency had happened and the counterpart, like as an anchor or a host, it's your job to anchor the ship, keep it from sinking. And so you have to have like that quick reflex and kind of think on the fly when situations like that happen, or any situation for that matter. If we have a breaking news situation, or for example, hurricane coverage, we are constantly like on our toes, on the fly, having to get up to date information, get in touch with our officials and inform you guys of what's going on, but do so in a manner that's calm, because that's a serious thing that happened too, and I'm sure he handled it with grace. Yeah. 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 No, that's a perfect example of that.
Did you work with Darla for one day or two?
I worked with her I was there for like a week.
A week, okay.
Before, so maybe like 2 weeks, and I was so lucky I got to anchor with her a few times, and I was like panicking. Not gonna lie, I was like, oh my god, I'm sweating.
I'm with the goat.
It was so fun to anchor with her, and believe it or not, like I learned best by doing essentially. So I was so lucky I got to anchor with Marcel, I got to anchor with Jim Hummel, and then Darla too, and I learned so much from those three people.
Yeah.
Just by sitting next to them in a chair and listening to how they speak or how they deliver or how they present themselves on camera. So for the few times that I was able to anchor with Darla, I learned a ton. And I told her, I was like, now you retire after I get here? She's like, it's time, girl. It's time.
Awesome. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. You got another question?
Yeah. 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 So to answer that first question, in college, the first thing that you learn is like you are an unbiased source. You have to get both sides when you report. Now, granted, in an 8-hour day, when you're under a tight deadline, does that always happen? No, but do we reach out to both sides? Yes. So we have to strive to be unbiased, especially in these delicate situations at times. And it is hard when you do see those other networks like you were mentioning. And it's kind of disheartening to see the majority of population kind of lump all of the media into one. Your local media, your local news sources deeply care about this community, and they work so hard to find stories, whether good or bad, to inform you. And they work so hard to keep it as unbiased as possible and to get all of the facts. Do they always have all the facts at once? No, because sometimes you're learning as you go along. You might learn more down the road. But it's kind of sad to see how that climate has kind of shifted over time. The way I kind of go through it is I know who I am as a person. I know I'm an honest person. I'm going to do my best to lift up others in the community, and that's kind of the role that I take, especially in this like local community role. Like I care about our local businesses and our local community because I believe we're better because of them. So why not give them a space to shine and be special and be great? But yeah, to answer your question, it's hard when you have to kind of witness that from those national networks and people don't people, that's all people watch sometimes. They don't branch out and don't watch that local news. They're like, oh, I'm only going to watch this station because that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to know. That's what I care about. But they completely disregard their local people that are living in the community and telling those stories.
Yep.
So that was a good question. Does anybody else have a question?
Yeah.
Feel free.
This is your chance. Any question you ever wanted to ask a reporter or an anchor?
He'd be great, honestly.
I can have an opinion segment. You know what grinds my gears?
Oh my God.
Ashley, you have a question?
Yeah, I think that the period between your two jobs
Yeah.
is really fascinating, and your ability that maybe no one left
Mm-hmm.
continuing it. I work with a lot of clients, especially right now, effectively into jobs and false identity.
Yeah.
Sort of so, what? I hate asking it this way, but almost like what advice would people like to give themselves that would really inspire them to gain their ownership of
Yeah.
their ideas?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So that space between jobs, it's always terrifying. Change in any capacity. It's hard. It's scary. Sometimes the way that things happen, you kind of lose your self-worth in a sense. I would say to them is, and I've said this before to other friends who have been laid off, you have to find a way to stay true to yourself. Whatever happened for a reason. You weren't meant to stay in that one place. And that's kind of what I reminded myself too. I don't think I would have ever left my position if I hadn't been forced out the way that I had. And honestly, everything works out for a reason. I'm so happy where I landed. I'm so happy I'm able to do what I do on a more like zeroed in scale. So I would just tell that person, you just have to, one, have faith and don't be so hard on yourself. Like, oh, I'm not good enough because I lost my job. That's the opposite. You have the skills, you have the tools. You just have to find a way to believe in yourself again and use that belief to apply yourself to those positions. I just got bored being home by myself all day. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to start doing what I was doing, but only on social media. And maybe that's what those people can do. Sometimes working for yourself isn't a bad thing either. I loved it for the short time that I did. But I think in that transition period, that loss of self, you have to try your hardest to avoid not to lose and just have faith that what's going to be is going to find you. You know? That's a great question. Yeah. Hi. Nice. Yeah. Mhm. 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 Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. See, and it all worked out. Mhm. No, that's great. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Oh my gosh, congratulations.
I gained a doctoral honorary doctoral. Like
Mhm.
so much has happened.
Yeah.
Since then. So I wanted to and something you mentioned, I was interested in how they said, so you found your next place in working, still finding your
Mhm.
love for dance. Still,
Mhm.
connecting to what just working, but
Mhm.
you're still connecting to where your gifted.
Mhm.
Very
Of course, you have to have that balance too.
Mhm.
You have to have those little, granted, like work is hard. It takes a long chunk out of our day. So it's hard
Mhm.
to kind of pursue those little passions and those little things that make us who we are on the side. But I feel like sometimes we have to find that time to do it
Mhm.
because sometimes, like, do I want to go teach dance after a long 8-hour day at work? Sometimes no, but once I get there and I'm with my kids, I'm like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, this is so much fun. I'm like
Yeah.
kind of like reinvigorated in a sense. So I feel like you need those little side hobbies, that side passion to kind of
Mhm.
keep you going
Yeah.
too. And to go with what you said, change is uncomfortable, but it's how you grow,
Mhm.
and we need that every now and then. We need to shake the soil and the plant so that we grow better.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anything else?
Nope. I think that's it. Thank
All
you
right.
again.
Thank
Thank
y'all so
you.
much. Oh,
Oh.
yeah. Who? Yeah. I love her. I love her. So I'm going to have to text her. Thank you for that.
Awesome. We're good.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank y'all so
Thank
much.
you.